You don't know what that is.
I have no idea.
You don't know. Jimmy Fallon doesn't know. David Letterman doesn't know.
We don't know.
All the comics and show business don't know what this is. Right? Yeah.
What is it?
Come on, Jimmy. Seriously, the time is up. People are hip to this kind of stuff. I'm here tonight to blow the lid off it, to be the whistleblower. I'm sick and tired of the secrets and the lies. It is the secret symbol of the Illuminati, and you're a part of it, and it is the all-mocking tongue.
Hollywood's.
You want this turned into unique, original wording while keeping the same dramatic tone and meaning. Here's a fresh rewrite. Hollywood's power structure is starting to crack from the inside. For years, Will and Jada Smith looked untouchable, the industry's golden couple, immune to scandal, immune to fallout. But a new wave of leaks is tearing that image apart. An insider allegation, amplified by Jim Carrey and whispered about in sealed courtrooms, is now spreading fast. The claim? The Smiths aren't just celebrities. They're protected pieces in a larger system of control, leverage, and quiet blackmail buried deep within the studio machine. Brother Bilal's lawsuit over intimidation and unpaid hush money.
Bilal says that Jada went up to him at a party back in November 2021 and said, if you keep talking about Will and about me, you're gonna catch a bullet. You're gonna catch a bullet.
Sudden disappearance with threats of legal action, and violinist Brian King Joseph's recent filing accusing Will of inappropriate behavior on tour are no longer being treated as separate incidents. Sources inside Los Angeles say investigators are starting to connect the dots. With Diddy's conviction already shaking the industry and Terrence Howard's past warnings about Hollywood invitations resurfacing online, the narrative feels darker than ever. What stands out most is the silence. The Smiths usually fight back publicly when pressured. This time, nothing. No statements. No denials. And in Hollywood, silence rarely means innocence. It usually means something bigger is moving behind the curtain. Insiders say this isn't over, and the next name dragged into the light might not recover. The alerts start hitting phones faster than anyone can follow. Assistants across Los Angeles are dialing each other nonstop, comparing notes. Try to confirm what's real and what's rumor. By mid-morning, the first copy of Brother Bilal's court filing is already circulating online. $3 million in damages, claims of intimidation, threats, psychological pressure. Within hours, every entertainment attorney in the city is quietly talking about the Smiths again. Then something strange happens. Jada's last public post, the one where she vowed to take legal action, quietly vanishes. The upload is gone. The comments are wiped. Even the discussion threads disappear like they were never there. People close to her say lawyers advise silence. But insiders insist it's not about avoiding defamation. It's about avoiding exposure. Bilal's camp claims they're sitting on texts and recorded footage dating back to 2019 that supposedly show the marriage wasn't built on love at all, but structured like an arrangement with a purpose. And that's when things stop adding up. If the accusations are nonsense, why are studio PR teams suddenly acting like they've never even crossed paths with him? Why erase the connection entirely? By late afternoon, entertainment reporters are calling it the moment the illusion cracked. Jada's production company releases a short statement, but it reads less like a denial and more like a retreat. We remain focused on future creative projects.
Will was bent over on the couch and Dwayne was standing up. Like, it was in there.
Here's where
and will not engage with false narratives. Behind closed doors, the atmosphere shifts. Old Jim Carrey interviews begin resurfacing. The ones where he described Hollywood as a machine that turns humiliation into spectacle. This time, people are connecting his warnings directly to the Smith situation, saying he predicted a system exactly like this years ago. Suddenly, the past looks different. The Oscar slap, the entanglement reveal, the therapy at the table confessions. What once felt spontaneous now feels staged. Studio whispers suggest these public breakdowns weren't accidents, but part of a cycle. Controlled chaos.
A violinist is suing Will Smith, claiming retaliation after he alleges that he was fired for reporting
harassment while on tour with Smith. Brian King Joseph filed the lawsuit in California earlier this week, accusing Smith of deliberately grooming him for sexual exploitation.
That keeps attention high while keeping the real operators hidden. Embarrassment feeds a brand. Silence protects the gatekeepers. Then, just as that theory starts gaining traction, a former assistant from Diddy's circle drops a leaked message referencing something called the Fresh Prince setup. Those 3 words alone send agencies into damage control mode. Bilal's legal team escalates 2 days later, promising to release everything if there's no response before the deadline stamped across the paperwork, March 23rd. Meanwhile, crisis management firms are suddenly busy. Quiet calls move between agencies. The same phrase keeps coming up: they're being protected. One Los Angeles attorney familiar with celebrity defense says the legal strategy mirrors older suppression tactics, once tied to Diddy's network. Then another familiar name surfaces: Dwayne Martin. His reps refuse to comment. But someone who worked on Fresh Prince years ago claims Will and Dwayne were inseparable, that the stories people dismiss as gossip were actually open secrets everyone chose not to acknowledge. The pattern feels too neat to ignore. Diddy's conviction, Martin's reappearance, Carrie's warnings about obedience through public shame. Nobody wants to spell it out, but the pieces line up a little too perfectly, like a system that's been hiding in plain sight all along. Suddenly, Jada's close allies begin circulating a different explanation. According to them, Bilal isn't chasing the truth.
You know, and they get out there in the woods in a circle naked and they decide these things. And, you know, and you know, look at him trying to come it up. It's hilarious. And, you know, and I'm sick of, hold on a second. You know what they're trying to do? Who? This thing is buzzing. Hold on. They're trying to turn us into, you know, consumer drones of some sort. Hold on, I just got to get this.
He's acting out of spite, angry over being excluded from a publishing deal. That becomes a talking point. Revenge, bitterness, sour grapes. But the harder they push it, the less convincing it feels. Because during that same week, while she publicly labels it extortion, his attorneys quietly file something else: emails, contracts, paper trails, messages that show he was allegedly owed consulting payments tied to Will's memoir. Not vague claims, actual timestamps. And those timestamps line up almost perfectly with the moments she was denying everything online. The overlap is uncomfortable. At the same time, Will's spokesperson releases a sharp response, calling the accusation completely false and floating the idea of a defamation suit. It sounds aggressive, decisive, the kind of statement meant to shut things down fast. Except nothing follows. No complaint filed in Los Angeles. No federal action. No legal strike at all. Just silence. Inside studio offices, the conversation quietly changes. People stop debating whether the claims are real. Instead, they start asking something else. Who's shielding them? Because every case connected to their orbit seems to stall. Hearings get postponed. Witnesses suddenly go unavailable. Paperwork drifts into limbo. And then there's a pattern lawyers notice. The same 2 firms